I think I have cut it later than ever watching the episode before we do the review, Connor. I think this could be the ultimate latest I've ever done it.
It wasn't too bad. It was part 3 and 4.
It was just part 4, but I finished it like 20 minutes before pickup time.
Okay.
Which was pretty grim. Pretty grim.
I suppose the difference between you and me is that I'd never seen the episodes before. You have.
Yeah.
So I suppose even if you don't... I mean, as much as I think you should rewatch, even if you don't...
I like to give
not
them
the end of the
a fair chat before I talk about them, I think.
Again, I think it's good that you do that, but it would be like me if I just was like, oh, I didn't see part 4. It would be like a bit disingenuous.
Well, I've been honest. I have seen Robot a few times. So when I watched it this time, I've had...
You're on your phone
a lot. No, I wasn't on my phone. Because actually, I'm not going to say that because I don't want to reveal my thoughts on Robot. But you love it when I say this. I had a very busy week this week, Connor. So quite often I was sort of like putting it on, and then I was sort of watching like 10 minutes, and I was like, I'll just do this quick, like an email or something like that. But also be paying attention. Only for parts 3 and 4, it was like that. Like part 4, I was like thumbnailing and getting the clip ready to go out whilst watching it, just because I didn't have time.
Can I be truthful about something?
What?
It's been on my... I've been meaning to say this for a while.
Oh no, what have I done?
No, it's not you, it's me.
Oh no.
This isn't working. Nah.
Oh, you're going to cancel the pod?
No, I did something a couple of months ago that I want to just fess up to.
Okay.
Okay. This is, by the way, and I generally hate this.
This is a very dramatic intro.
It became too much. Like, I generally just forgot to do it.
Right.
I remember I always said with passion on this show that I have rewatched or /watched episodes before I review them.
Right.
There is one episode that we reviewed that I only watched half of.
You lied to me?
I didn't watch 2 episodes of it was a classic. It was 4 episodes and I only watched 2. And it was by mistake. It was the night of, you might remember what episode it was because it was the night that we shot The Robin Was Wrong, my scene.
Right.
It was the night the 60th trailer came out and I was up till like 3 a.m. filming that. And I woke up the next day and it was like 20 minutes to picking me up and I still had 2 episodes to watch.
What was that?
It was a Patrick Troughton episode.
Oh, the Ice Warriors.
The Ice Warriors.
You never finished the Ice Warriors. Did you Google it, the ending?
No.
So whenever I said something about what was happening in the Ice Warriors, you just went...
No, well, I watched half.
Yeah, but we would have talked about the ending and you would have just gone, yeah, I love that stuff, man.
You might go back now and people might go back and watch that now and be like, Connor's such a fucking liar.
I'd love it.
But I'm sorry.
I'd love it if like I rewatch it.
Didn't want to hurt your feelings.
And whenever I mention something about part 5 or 6, you just look at the camera like...
Oh yeah, it was 5 and 6.
It was a 6 part.
So yeah. I saw 4 parts.
Will you ever watch them?
Yes, because I hate myself for that. I fucking hate myself for that.
I would hate myself for that.
I do.
You need to go to fucking horny jail. You need to go to
horny jail for
Doctor Who church and like speak to Doctor Who priests and have them.
I completely hate being disingenuous, but this was also when Aidan was doing his film. Like, you gotta understand, like I couldn't be like, oh, let's do it the next day. Like, it was do or die, and I was up till 3 a.m. doing the reaction video that you all love so much. Okay, give me a break, everyone. I'm sorry, I'm human. This is the one time on my mum's life, the one time I didn't rewatch something or watch for the first time. It was the Ice Warriors. I will eventually watch the last 2 parts and give you my updated thoughts.
I'm on the edge of my seat, mate.
I thought it was shit. I don't know what happened.
Bit of excitement on that note of that is that my film is officially picture locked as of this morning.
Congratulations. I thought it was on Monday.
No, I think I sent you a message on Tuesday saying I picture locked.
I'm very, very, very happy for you.
And then it was basically my last cut. And then the Aidan cut, and then it just went off for final approval for producers and stuff, and got like a couple of minor notes. So first thing this morning at like 8 a.m. it got picture locked officially. So that means it now goes off to sound for all the sound to get mixed and the final composition to be done, and it goes to get color graded and things like that. Which means it's a lot of me just sitting in on cuts and giving on what would you on mixes, I guess, and giving feedback on sound and stuff like that.
Picture lock will mean the edit is done.
Yeah, no more cuts allowed.
No more cuts. And then you're not. This is your job isn't necessarily over. You still have to do all this.
Yeah, that's the thing. But the thing is, it's like, especially for me, I edited this myself.
Yeah, for the first time.
This was very hands-on for me, and the hours and hours. The most I've ever scrutinized over an edit. And so, like, having that be done now is, like, so much more time. I have so much more free time. So, run sheets might return to the fucking podcast, Connor, was my point for bringing this up.
Can I ask you a question? Like, how did you, when it came to editing the movie, did you take notes from previous cuts of your films, or did you watch any YouTube videos? Did you listen to any, like, editors
how to edit
podcasts? Obviously, you know how to edit, but, like, you know, did you dive into research for how to?
Well, I've done that, like general editing principles and stuff. It was all stuff we covered at film school and stuff.
Right.
And
okay.
Stuff that even a little bit cringe, but back in the vlogging days and stuff, that was all stuff that I applied onto that. But then even on my past films I did where I had editors, part of the reason why I didn't bring on an editor for this one was because I just always found myself just wanting to go over the shoulders and start writing, which isn't fair on an editor for me to be so, kind of hands-on in that way. And so it got to a point in the last film, and editor was a cool guy, but it was just taking a long time. And I just really got to a point where I was like, I could be doing this myself. And with me editing it myself, it meant that I could really experiment with different ways to cut scenes without... You know, when you got an editor on board, it's their time, and you don't want to send them down a rabbit hole that might not necessarily lead somewhere. So, like, we have a lot of montages in this film, and particularly the final montage. I did a recut of it on Monday, and
wow,
and that was like just an experimental cut for me, just being like, I want to trim it down a little bit. It's a little bit baggy at the end, and completely recut it, reshaped it. Montage is all over the place now. And it really was the best way to do that scene. So I don't think I would have done that had I had a different editor. I think I would have already long since locked it off and things like that.
It's funny, like, editing's a thing that doesn't get brought up that much, but it's, like, so important.
It's so strange.
It like really is so important.
I noticed that it's always obvious when editing is kind of bad.
Yeah.
Not always, but it's quite often you'll be like, oh, how terribly edited was that scene at the start of the Star Beast or whatever, where the pacing's wrong. People associate pacing with editing quite a bit, which is totally fair and true. But when you are actually, like when I'm editing and going through a phase of editing for the film for a few weeks, and then I watch TV, I notice edits. Like I'm like actually actively observing the edit. But then when I go 6 months without editing a big project, I don't notice editing in movies. It's so weird.
When you were sat down with the editors in your other films, were they present with like a script?
They would have got a script early on. So when we were in pre-production, they got a script.
But can they decide to maybe? I guess a short film's not a great example, but like say an episode or a movie, are they able to like be like, I think this scene might be better if it was here and then maybe there? And
they can offer things for sure. Right. And to be honest, that was another reason why I didn't necessarily go with an editor, is because I did always feel like I wasn't necessarily getting that from the people that we were always working with. It really was just me sort of throwing ideas out there, and they were just sort of being my minions, building it for me. Like, and I didn't really like that.
I think this scene should go this way, and then they're given the interpretation of what you said to an edit. Yeah. Editing is difficult. It's like no one will ever have your style, no matter how hard you try. And I understand you wanting to edit your own film, because I don't think I could have anyone else do it.
Yeah.
Like personally,
I could never edit like a feature film. I just think.
Could you imagine?
That would be such a big job. I think Chloe Zhao did that with Nomad. Is it Nomadland? Is that what it's called? Her Oscar nom movie.
The girl who directed Eternals.
Yeah.
Well, she edited it as well.
Yeah, Nomadland. Yeah, which is a really good movie.
Frances McDormand.
Yeah. Is it Nomad?
Yeah, it's Nomad. Yeah,
but it's just Nomad.
It won Best Picture.
Yeah, but it's just Nomad, right?
It's Nomad. It's just Nomad. Is it Nomadland or is it Nomad?
That's what I am. That's what I'm confused.
I think it's Nomad.
I think it's just Nomad. Where do I have Nomadland from?
Maybe because that's what it's called.
I don't know.
I don't know. I've never seen it.
This is a Doctor Who podcast. We're going to be talking about Robot very soon.
Yes,
Tom
Robot.
Baker's very
not
first
Robot
story.
Sherwood, not Robot.
Robots of Death.
Yep.
Not Robots, the 2000s movie. Fantastic. Did you watch that as a kid?
I have seen that, and not iRobot.
No,
with keep your wife's name out my fucking mouth, Smith. He's in it.
Not Wally or Chappie.
Not Chappie or Wally. No. What are some other fun robots that have hit our screens in the last couple of years?
You can tell when there's not a lot of like news or anything. We have a lot of padding at the start of our episodes, which is fun.
Yeah, we have fun. Eh?
Do you have a favourite Doctor Who robot?
K9.
It's got to be K9. Okay, other than K9. K9's the obvious answer. Maybe robot villain is the good question.
Robot villain?
What's your favourite robot villain?
Cyberman? Nah. I don't know. Favourite robot villain? I always thought it was funny. Not that I'm a fan of the show, but I know you've watched a few episodes. I thought it was really iconic that they got the two blokes who were in Peep Show.
Oh, in Dinosaurs on a Spaceship.
Yeah, they got the two actors who always work together.
Yeah. David Mitchell and I don't know the other guy.
I've never watched
Yeah.
Peep Show. I know you have.
Funny duo. They're a bunch of funny guys.
Did you finish that show?
I did. And the last few seasons definitely kind of dragged. Just because it's 9 seasons of very similar humour.
I just don't... How did you... What? Remember he made fun of me for watching Futurama, but you watched 9 seasons.
9 seasons of 6 episodes. And I did watch them over like a year. It wasn't like a binge watch thing.
Also, was it BBC?
ITV? I think it was Channel 4.
Yeah, I think. With Peace and Love, you normally, with a British show that's been on for 9 years, you normally know you're in for at least a bit of good TV.
Yeah,
Sorry.
It is fun. It's almost...
No offense to to American sitcoms that, go on for like 13 seasons. It's normally a piece of shit. It's
definitely like, it's not like as good as The In-Betweeners or anything, but it's sort of similar humour. Some stuff that hasn't aged the best, but it's good.
I respect In-Betweeners for always just doing 3 seasons. Like they really knew that they literally left in like their prime.
That's the thing with Peep Show. It's sort of like it is really good sort of the whole way through. It is really funny. But imagine if The In-Betweeners did 9 seasons. It would become so much less special.
Yeah.
Like the idea of doing a rewatch of The In-Betweeners would be like, oh my God, I need to put aside 2 years to watch this shit.
But that's like, like the US Office. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if you know on the show, the UK Office is like probably my favourite sitcom of all time. I've watched it about 20 times.
I do know this.
But like, even Steve Carell had to leave the US Office because it was just going on. Like they did 2 seasons without Steve Carell. Mm-hmm. Like,
is that enough?
But like, that's the thing. It's like this network, these blood-sucking fucking producers are like, the IP is so good that people will still tune in even without Steve Carell. We'll do 2 seasons without it.
Yeah.
It's like, isn't that lame? Like, it's like Med School, season 9 of Scrubs.
Of Scrubs, yeah.
Like, that's such a network thing where it's like, oh, keep going, like, don't worry, people will tune in. Like,
to be fair, ABC had just bought Scrubs and saved it from cancellation on the NBC. So
Yahoo did that with Community.
They did.
Did you ever finish Community?
Nah, I couldn't get through season 6.
I couldn't get through it.
I think even season 5, I'd like barely watch the episodes.
Out.
I think I would put it on and my eyes would roll to the back of my head as I watched it.
I wish there are shows that I had it with Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I watched 3 seasons and all I ever hear is how great it is. I just could not get into it.
Hold on.
What?
We're saying this shit. Meanwhile, this is a fucking Doctor Who podcast. A show that is going into its 40th series, I think, with season 1.
39, I think?
No, I think it's 40.
I had this conversation with Adam the other day. Yeah, it's either
26 in Classic Who, 13 with Flux, so that's 39. So season 1 is season 40.
That's a good thing to bring up. Do you think they'll do a big thing? I was talking to Adam about this in the DMs.
Oh.
Do you think that they would do, like, for season 50, do you think there'd be a big thing?
No.
No?
No one gives a fuck. Every now and then, it's like
care.
On TikTok. I posted a TikTok ages ago about the whole the restart of the numbering, right? How we're like, did Doctor Who die in 2023 or 2022?
Yeah, that was my risky joke where I'm like, some people say it died with
Chris Chibnall.
Yeah. You gotta stop taking away say literally, the one, please.
People are still commenting on that fucking video,
really?
Being like, Doctor, it's actually season 40. And I'm like, what are you on, mate?
Some fucking guy the other day commented on YouTube and he was like, do you even understand Russell's writing? Do you even like it? And it's like, yeah, I do. Like, I don't know what you're trying to say. It's like, do you even get it? It's like, first of all, okay, sorry, I've been watching him since 2006. Okay, I think I can have an opinion about Russell's writing. It's like, and do I get it? Yeah, I get it. Okay, I do get it. And I literally replied, I watched The Star Beast 10 times.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, yeah, maybe I didn't love it, but like, I still support it. I watched it 10 times. Like, do you even get it? No. Do you even get it? You idiot. I'm sick of these fuckheads on our comment section. I get so angry. I have to reply to them sometimes. It's like,
I love like
who are you to say that to me?
I love silly replies to people though. Ugh. Remember that guy that was just like, get a pop filter, full stop. And
I'm sorry, who are you?
I don't know if it was me or you, but we replied just no.
We both replied like no.
Just
like,
no.
Who are
full
you?
stop.
It's always like your videos do great. Like they always do great, and it upsets me when people say shit about Aidan. You know, they're like, get a day job. It's like, do you really think that Aidan just does this?
I just sit
we
here
have
every day,
1,000
mate.
subscribers. How is this a steady income? We made like 5 cents per video. Do you really think he's living off this? Like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You're a moron. Like, do you really think that? Like, I hate it.
Do you really think we can afford a pop filter?
Remember he thought you were American? Some guy thought you were American. It's like, in your parents' basement in America. It's like, are you fucking insane?
That was my...
Do we sound American?
Oh, that was my favorite thing. I think he called me a man in a stupid hat.
Yeah, in a stupid hat.
Don't
insult my
living in my parents'
co-host.
basement in America. And then I think I replied saying, at least I know the difference between... at least know the difference between America and Australia, you silly Welsh man. Because his username...
him hard. Everyone was liking your comment and no one was liking his. It was just like...
I think even in that video I said I'm Australian as well. That's the thing. So...
That's what bugs me when people like... Look, fair enough, you can criticize all you like, but it's like, if in the video there is like a definitive answer to what you're commenting, like one time... It was like the new Doctor Who theme, we did a clip on it and they were like... Why post a video if you don't even show the new theme? And I literally said, like, it clearly states at the beginning of this video that we filmed it on the something or something before, literally, and I said before the theme had even come out. So it's like, that's why I always at the beginning of the clips, I always put what date we filmed it. Not everyone fucking looks at it, but it's like to show we had that Millie Gibson clip come out. Again, I think it's important to put the date we filmed it because, like, obviously new information has come out. You know, it's like, it's important, I think, for people to be like, look when it was filmed. Like, don't ignore that.
So you've all been told, is what we're saying.
It does bug me. I mean, you know, we're humans. Like, we get really nice DM. I got a really nice DM yesterday. Well, we both did. I guess I.
Oh, the one you showed me. Yeah, that was lovely.
You know, people are very sweet. But also, it can really piss me off.
No, I love it. I love the drama.
Do you ever get angry about it though? Like,
I don't with this podcast. I do with like on my own like personal film YouTube channel. Some comments on that can like I like reply and then like delete the reply because it's like some comments on that can like drive me the wrong way.
Your James Bond video, they got a lot of fucking...
Oh yeah, no, the big one. About 3 or 4 months ago, I did a review of Good Omens season 2. And I literally said
that did really well though, didn't it?
It did. It's by far the best video I've ever done, view-wise. And I did a bunch of shorts cut down from that video as well, and they all did like really, really well as well. And the comments in that like are still like going, like every day they're going. And it's just like sometimes I see them and like people like just say shit. Like I think someone was like, you just don't understand. It was more personal than that, but people like word things in such a personal attack way, and I'm like, at the end of the day, it's just my opinion, buddy. It's just my opinion.
I'm not trying to say we're doing God's work. I mean, we are, no. But it's like, you know, it does take courage, I suppose, to have your opinion put out on the internet. It's very easy for, I think, people to be like, oh, well, you know, I have a different opinion to you, but I won't film a video and show my face and give that opinion. I'll just type it. It's like, okay, well, at least I had the fucking nuts to quote the BBC. Like,
this is a very long intro. We should get into the podcast, perhaps.
That is probably great, yeah.
You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at 50Doctor. On TikTok at 50Doctor Who. Subscribe if you haven't already. Give us a 5 stars if you love this little bit of riff-raff that we do here and there. Yeah. Well, I guess we play the theme.
Yeah. 50.
You going for a piss?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
50% cat.
Connor has gone to urinate since the break. Here's the thing. The whole 50% side of the podcast, I understand it shouldn't work, right? And you know what? View-wise, probably doesn't work. But I think y'all have been here for long enough. You've been riding the wave with us. A lot of you are here because you enjoy our opinions on things outside of Doctor Who as well. And that's what I love doing with this pod, talking about a little bit of life, a little bit about other movies and TVs, that kind of thing. And, you know, other people, I'm not going to say who this is, there's a big creator out there in the Who community who once put out a tweet that felt very much like they'd just watched one of our podcasts, and they'd said, like, you know, people that title, for example, robot review, but then they spend half the time not talking about robot. Like, what kind of a podcast is that? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, fair enough. If that's the type of, you know, YouTube channel podcast that you want to make and that you like watching, fair enough, because there are people that like that kind of thing. But for me, when I listen to review podcasts and things like that, I usually get into that podcast because of the review. I'm like, oh, I like Doctor Who at the moment. I should look up for a Doctor Who podcast. And, you know, there's a podcast there with like 20 Doctor Who reviews. Awesome. And I'll start watching them. And throughout the course of those reviews, you start to vibe with these people. And then it's like any podcast that I've been listening to for more than a year, I much more enjoy the riff-raff they talk about over the actual topic that originally brought me onto the podcast that I'm listening to.
No, you're so right. Adam sent me a similar text through the Christmas break about how, I can't remember what episode it was, but it was an episode that came out during your time in Japan.
Right.
And yeah, he just said, like, yeah, the episodes where we just riff-raff are funny.
People like the riff-raff.
But I think also people have been, you know, tuning in since like October, and that was a big time for like Doctor Who as a show. I think we had a lot of news. I think it's times like these where, you know, we can get a little bit slack and talk about other shit when it comes to, like, I think, you know, there was a reason why segments like, you know, what we watched that didn't happen during like reviews of Wild Blue Yonder or something, obviously, because there's actually the podcast is Doctor Who and there's an actual Doctor Who episode that came out that we want to talk about.
We're very intentional with that in terms of we know the episodes and the topics and the reviews where we actually need to spend most of the time talking about that. One, because we want to on things like new episodes. We can talk about that for an hour, but also, you know, new audiences, like we said, they gravitate towards something because they want to hear about Doctor Who. And then it's only once they're familiar with you, maybe listen to like a couple months worth of your podcast, that they start to sort of be like, oh, I'm actually more interested in the people that are talking over necessarily the topics, which is not everyone, but that's how I am with listening to podcasts. So that's the podcast that I want to make.
I think it struck me when I finally finished the last episode of H3 Podcasts last year.
Oh, God. Cringe.
It had been 2 years. This is the third year. 2 years. I've not missed a single episode. And I'm a member, so I get the extra episode per week. That is 5 episoes a week for 2 years. Damn. They're like 3 hours long every day. 3.5, 4 hours.
I'd love to know
like, insane. Like, how have I listened to that much content? Like, how do I've not missed a single, not one on my mum's life, not one episode in 2 years.
I would love to know who has listened to every single one of our podcasts.
There's a few people.
I know a few people have, but yeah, if you have, comment down below if you have. I'd love to hear. Like, what do you have? Like, what have you learned?
50% legend.
What have you learned in that like 3.5+ years? Like, what are we terrible people? Like, what have you figured out by listening to us weekly, or maybe you went back and binged them at one point?
Tell us
about ourselves.
I don't think you're a terrible person. I think you're a great person.
No, that was just I'm just saying.
I hope you don't think that way about yourself.
I'm a terrible person.
I don't think that.
Shall we talk about a robot?
I think we should talk about something Doctor Who.
We should talk about something Doctor Who.
Tom Baker's first ever story.
That's right. Robot is the first serial of the 12th season in the British science fiction television series Doctor Who, which was first broadcast in 4 weekly parts on BBC One from the 28th of December 1974 to the 18th of January 1975. It was the first full serial to feature Tom Baker as the Fourth Doctor, as well as Ian Marter as the new companion Harry Sullivan.
Correct.
The serial brought a full end to the Pertwee era, as it was the final story with the production team of Barry Letts and script editor Terrance Dicks. So
that's a big deal.
Yeah, that's Dicks. Like showrunners.
So Planet of the Spiders was their last.
No, I think they're saying this serial.
Oh,
this serial.
This was it.
Yeah,
and then from here on onwards, it was.
Yeah,
wow.
Okay. It was also the final regular appearance of Unit, who had become regulars, starting with the first Jon Pertwee serial. Obviously, Elizabeth Sladen's in it as well. I'm not sure if we covered that earlier. Sarah Jane Smith.
That's a good question to ask you, actually, if you don't mind. If I hit you with this. So, obviously, we know we've spoken about those heaps. Jon Pertwee's era was very unit-focused, only on Earth, mostly.
Yep.
So, this was the start of, obviously, this is set at Unit, but now with Tom Baker. So was this the start of, how often do Unit show up after this?
Not much. This is definitely a new vision going forward from this point.
Seems it, okay.
They don't appear in the rest of the season. They appear in, I believe, I've not seen season 13, but as far as I'm aware, they appear in the first story, which is Terror of the Zygons. And that sort of does act as like a bit of a swan song for them. I don't know if intentionally or not, but it was the last time
a swan song
for Unit. It is sort of, I'm pretty sure that is the last appearance of Unit until the five Doctors when the brig comes back. Even then it's not a Unit story. I think there's a couple of soldiers at the start or something.
Isn't Yates and Benson show up?
I
think Benson shows up.
Maybe, yeah. But either then, it's not like a Unit story. It's more like a brigadier goes around, does stuff.
That's interesting, okay.
And then it's not until, I think, is it Battlefield the next time we see them? I think it might be Battlefield. Yeah.
Shut up.
That's what I mean.
This seriously?
I'm probably wrong.
This is the third last.
Yeah.
Seriously?
There's a big chance I could be wrong. Wow. Maybe Unit's in it without the brig.
Well, we've seen Battlefield.
But I do think Terror of the Zygons is definitely the last one in a long time to have Unit in it.
And that's Tom Baker?
Yeah, it's his second season. It's first episode of his second season.
Okay. I noticed in this season, which is, I always forget.
Season 12.
12. Mm-hmm. This has Genesis of the Daleks. Has a big story in it.
Yeah.
That is notoriously a classic.
So, very quickly before we get into our thoughts on Robot, Season 12 is 5 stories.
Yep.
And there is, starting with the next serial, there is a small thread that connects a couple of the stories. I don't even want to call it a plot point.
Is this the season that has the small threads?
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I want to watch. So next month, when we do our classic review of the month, it will be Ark in Space. We're going to go through this over the next 5 months.
Okay, I don't want to know what the thread is, but has there been a connection in this episode?
Nah.
Okay.
All I'll say is, in season 12, you never see the TARDIS interior. That's your hint. It's really not an interesting story beat or anything. It's the tiniest thing that links from serial to serial.
I noticed that in the episode, but I just thought that's just classic Who, not having a backdrop or a...
I don't mean with the TARDIS. I don't mean...
But you never see the interior.
There's never studio scenes inside the interior.
But did Pertwee even have much of an interior? Because his TARDIS wasn't working for a while.
But no, he does have a TARDIS. They still go in it from time to time. Quite often you can see the fabric, and they don't have an actual built set with roundels. It's just a fabric with roundels on it.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't in this season.
Okay. And that, I guess, comes back to a plot or a...
It's so minor. It's such a minor... don't get excited about this whole connected story.
I kind of am excited.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
Well, I'm very excited to see Genesis when we get there. That's
later on.
I was going to ask you about that. Okay, so, all right. Well, I'm keen for the...
And this is our TARDIS team for the full season. We got the Doc... Yeah. Ian and Sarah Jane Smith.
Ian? Harry?
Sorry, I keep calling... It's Ian Martner plays Harry. And I was listening to the Big Blue Box podcast last week, and they were reviewing Revenge of the Cybermen, which is the last story in the season. And they were saying how Harry is almost like another version of Ian from, Hartnell's years.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm probably going to do that again at some point because I've been doing it all week. Ian Chesterton, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
friends of the show, by the way, Madman. No, Big Blue Box. Sorry.
Oh yeah, we've been talking about Geeks Handbag on Twitter every now and then. Yes. Okay. So. Let's get into it, shall we? Shall we do a bit of reviewing?
Sure.
A bit of chit chat.
Sure.
4 parts.
Yep.
Should I shake it up? Let's shake it up. I'm gonna say what I thought.
Sure,
first,
please. Go ahead.
Purely because there's more anticipation of what you think. I think.
Sure.
I've seen it before. I like Robot. I think it's fun. Mm-hmm. I think it's sort of like your probably on the same level as Christmas Invasion, where it's not like the best Doctor intro story of all time, but like it's good fun. I think Tom... Oh, sorry. It's very windy, so there's a lot of banging going on outside. I think Tom instantly hits the ground running.
Absolutely.
I think this season... I've not seen season 13. I think this season is my favourite Tom Baker performance as a season, which is just like... It doesn't have the moodiness that comes once Elizabeth Sladen leaves.
Okay. Just quickly, do you think that was a Tom Baker thing or a change in character for the Doctor?
I think it sort of started as a Tom Baker thing, and then
he got so mad in the end, didn't he?
That's the thing. He was a big Suki boy.
You never know the fucking answer when it's important. I finally showed you that clip, by the way. I finally sent that. Yeah.
But it probably was a bit of writing as well. I don't know. This is purely me speculating. I'm sure there's 1,000 documentaries.
He stayed on way too long.
The rise and fall of Tom Baker.
Do you think he stayed on too long?
Well, from what I've heard, his last seasons aren't that great. And I've seen season 17 and 18.
Like writing or just him?
Writing. I don't like season 18. Like, I think the only story that I like is Logopolis, which is his final story. And season 17, I think, starts great. Destiny of the Daleks, it's fun, nothing crazy. But City of Death, we've reviewed that. We can talk about it all we want.
Great episode.
I think it's incredible. That's my favourite classic Who story. Almost finished reading the Target novel, actually. I was reading it last night.
Lovely. Do you think that Tom got so popular that they almost didn't want to get rid of him? That the ratings for the show would go down if he left?
Oh, I bet that was a thought for sure.
They just keep paying him more each season. Like, Tom, if you come up for another season, we'll pay you this much more.
I don't know how much money was in Doctor Who in the late 70s.
Oh, I bet a bit. Like, why else would he stay on?
Well, yeah.
He did 7 seasons?
He's an actor and it's a job. Yes, he did 7 seasons. All right. Lastly, before you say your opinion, I think Sarah Jane Smith is incredible in this story. She has so much to do. And
wickedly talented.
It's amazing. I think Harry does fuck all. And he's just that. You wouldn't even think that he's a companion in this story. And then at the end, he just wanders into the TARDIS. But tell me what you think of Robot, Connor.
I liked it. I think it's incredibly interesting to see Tom's first story. Tom is, I know we've had a little bit of debate about this, like who's the most famous Doctor. You know, I know you say DT. I personally think that Tom Baker is the most famous Doctor.
Tomato.
The look alone is, I think, the most iconic. I'd agree.
He's got the most iconic look.
It's the most iconic look, which we get to see in the episode in a fantastic scene, I think, where he is trying on different outfits. The scene when he finally comes out wearing the look, like the iconic look, is truly a special moment, I think, in the show.
And it has the little like sting of the theme in there. It's like doo doo doo.
They got it, you know. I think what's interesting watching this episode is like classic Who is not like New Who in the sense that like the Doctor change is not necessarily like an emotional thing. Like the Brig is literally just like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
And just moves on.
Another one.
Yeah, exactly. It's like another one. Like it's like, oh, this is just like regular. It's like it's kind of weird. Like I almost wish they had like. It's like, oh, maybe I had like a bit of a relationship with, I'm not saying sexual, I'm just saying like a friendship.
Fan fiction.
With
Brigadier John Pertwee.
Yeah, I'm just saying like
that's out there.
Maybe he had like a good friendship with John Pertwee's Doctor and is going to miss him for being who he is. And now, you know, John Pertwee's Doctor and Tom Baker are, as I think they should be, incredibly different. And like, I don't think we ever got that scene. I guess I just didn't really write it that way, where it was like, oh, he's gone now. I might miss the previous incarnation. He's literally just like, well, here we go again. It's like, okay, like...
Even Sarah Jane, it's like, oh, the doc's gone to the doctors because he's regenerated.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I've been wanting to go to that think tank place around the corner. I might head over there. I might
go there, yeah, because I'm a journalist and that's what I do.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, you know, it's so funny. Like, we have episodes like Deep Breath and Christmas Invasion, you know, where we have our companions dealing with a crisis of their friend/lover, depending on where you look at it.
Clara,
being different.
I'm not your girlfriend.
Your boyfriend.
Oh, that one.
I never thought you were. I never said it was your mistake.
I love that. Okay, it doesn't matter. Go back.
I'm not going to be funny. I have used that line.
Oh, God.
In my life once.
What? I'm not your girl. I'm not...
Insert name here. I'm not your boyfriend. And then she says, I never thought you were. And I said, I never said it was your mistake.
God, this is like when Connor was trying to tune my girlfriend in high school, and
it wasn't high school. It was middle school,
and he called her the only mystery worth solving.
Okay, this is an incredibly embarrassing thing that gets brought up all the time. It was middle school.
Okay.
I love you guys. I'm so happy for you both.
Get back to Robot.
There is no bad blood.
We gotta do the
Aidan Green,
the 50% boxing match.
Yes,
yeah.
I love Aidan and I love Nicole, and I'm so glad they're together. Fuck you, maybe. Okay. Robot.
Cringe.
Yeah, that is cringe. I don't think I'm a fucking loser.
That's not new.
Blah. Yeah, I think it strikes me odd that no one really gives a fuck that he just changed. But it's like, you know, I suppose like, you know, Troughton just regenerated. Pertwee falls out the TARDIS. Auton's attacking. The Brig's like, blah, you know, like... But they have
Briggs' first rodeo.
But they have... I know it's not Briggs' first rodeo, but it's like... So the Brig met Troughton?
Yeah.
So the Brigadier was in like black and white TV?
Yeah.
Insane. Okay. I guess it's not his first rodeo, but you know, you've led me this narrative that for Pertwee's era mostly is just like a stay at unit kind of thing. Like, don't you think that him as a character would be like, hey, I 100%. Kind of miss this guy who just it's literally just like, oh, here we go again. It's like, okay, I get that it's still the Doctor, but also it's like a completely different personality. Like, you can't say that Peter Capaldi and fucking Sylvester McCoy are the same person. They're not. They're the same character, but they're not the same person.
I think, and people like it for different things. I know a lot of people that don't like when New Who gets emotional, and that's fair enough. People have different tastes. I know. For me, that's what I love about Who.
That's what I love about it. Yeah.
Whenever it wears its heart on its sleeve, that's why I love the show.
Yeah.
But I know some people that weren't keen on like Shooty crying in Church on Ruby Road. Like, people just don't love that more vulnerable Doc. A lot of people, mainly people that grew up in the classic years, prefer a more reserved Doc that is more alien and not connected with human emotions.
Okay, yeah.
Which is fair enough. And I do think it does genuinely come down to a lot of classic Doctor Who, I think, was written by just slightly less... Oh, people are going to yell at me for this. Slightly less emotional writers than New Who. Like, the idea of change.
No, that's so true.
The idea of change to, you know, Russell, Moffat, Chibnall, that's like a big emotional thing to these guys, and they make sure that that's part of their regeneration stories.
Yeah.
And clearly that's just not a bit of emotion that these writers necessarily gravitate towards, which is fine. It's just clear. You know, you do have emotional beats in classic Doctor Who. I'm not saying that. I've said that plenty of times. Joe Grant's ending, I think, is such a beautiful... Adric, of course. And like...
What's his the girl?
Adric.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean.
Like those emotional moments are there, but I think as a whole, classic Doctor Who is a less emotional series than New Who is. And that's just, I think, a fact, to be honest.
No, I think you're right. It is the classic, like, you know, pull your socks up kind of writer, like, move on.
Yeah.
Get on with it. It's like, okay. But don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed the episode, and I think it was quite heartwarming for me to watch. I'm very excited to watch a regeneration episode and a First Doctor episode, because I think it's such an iconic part of the show. Whether they're good stories or not, I did enjoy the story. I don't love it. I think it's quite silly, but it's like, very silly. I thought the idea of seeing Tom Baker's first episode was really cool. Like, I think liked that aspect of it.
The plot was silly, and I think the VFX definitely are a little bit blah.
What, in part 4?
In part 4, yeah. But I enjoyed the tone of this. I enjoy how silliness it is for it being a first story for Tom Baker, who in his beginning, and to be honest, up until like season 17, is still a very silly Doctor. So I do think it was like a good one to just sell his vibe. We're not going too dark or anything, but let's just let Tom Baker run amok with the unit for an episode and just have a bit of fun.
No, you hit the nail on the head. I think, it's funny. Like, obviously, I haven't seen, nor will I say I'm an expert on like classic Who, but it's like, Tom Baker was obviously incredibly different to John Pertwee. Or Pertway, classic joke.
Whatever Pertway you say it.
Whether Pertway you say it, But I think that, you said before in your intro, like, do I think Tom absolutely kills it? Yeah, like, he really is, like, you understand why people say, like, he's their favourite.
Yeah.
And I think maybe apart from, like, it's hard for me to watch Tom because I like, it's almost like maybe how people would feel now, like watching Doctor Who and being like, everyone says David Tennant's their favorite Doctor, and they're like maybe watching David Tennant being like, he's great, but I don't really get he's great, but I don't really get why people love him so much. I've had that with Tom.
You don't have that sex appeal.
The sex appeal of Tom, who notoriously had sex with someone in the Tom Baker costume, the Doctor's costume.
Did he actually?
He did, yeah. He had sex with a fan in a Doctor Who scarf and costume in the hat and all that, yeah. He said that. He's a crazy guy. We love him. He turned 90 on Monday, by the way. Love that guy.
That was me.
If that was you?
It was probably Ian Levine.
It was probably Ian Levine, like, hello, Tom.
Do you have the missing episodes, Tom? Please.
Me messaging Aidan.
Why aren't
Let's
the collection
get Ian on the
sets
podcast
out
and
yet?
you're like, no. No, but Tom is like whack, but I think this is the first episode where I'm like, look, obviously I always respect and love Tom as a Doctor, but it's like, it's hard to like, it's like, I've never seen The Godfather, for example.
You have never?
I've never seen it.
Interesting.
Watching The Godfather the first time, how can I not watch that movie without having everyone's... It's like you trying to watch The Sopranos.
It was literally like the first time I watched Spider-Man, because I notoriously
the Sam Raimi,
the very first Sam Raimi Spider-Man until I think it was in year 12 was when I watched it for the first time. And I thought it was fine. I didn't have that nostalgia for it and stuff.
Exactly, and like, you can really appreciate something, and I do appreciate... Tom is not my favourite classic Doctor, but I can appreciate how great he is, and I can also appreciate how people love him for who he is. It's very similar to me with Jodie. Jodie's not my favorite New Who Doctor, but I can love and respect the fact that people have that connection. I think it's fine. I think it's something that we should respect, that we have a show where there are this many Doctors that we can just say, hey, personally, not my favorite, I still love them, but like they're not my favorite. And I guess that's with Tom, but he's still so amazing. And Elizabeth Sladen, who... It's no wonder why so many people loved her, because she is an absolute fucking delight.
Incredible.
She's beautiful. We love Liz. Like, she's so fucking great.
Obviously, an incredible performance from Sladen, but I also think she's I don't want to say a rare classic companion, but she's one of the better written classic companions, let's say. Like,
absolutely,
she's one that they really do take her seriously, and they really do care about making her be an important part of the story and having an important role in each story. You have characters like Mel who get sidelined in their stories, and
they're the woman who screams in the corner from getting attacked by
they are the damsel in distress.
The week, the villain of the week,
which quite often is just the role of the companion in general, never mind the sex of them. But I think, and even at the end of Robot, she almost is the damsel in distress in a way. But I think she has enough to do throughout the rest of the story, and even when she's the damsel in distress, she's there talking to the robot and sympathizing with the robot. It's a big character beat when she's in that position. Like, I think they really do care and put a lot of integrity into her as a character, and I think that's great.
No, you're so right. Like, that, I was thinking this, like, and who am I as a man to say this, but it's like, I think she generally is like a really well-written female character. Like, she is a journalist first, and she is going to investigate. She's been doing it the whole episode, and you're right. Like, she has an emotional beat with the robot.
Yeah, it's lovely,
and it's lovely. Yeah, it works, and she is a character first, I think. And bro, like, Doctor Who had a good streak, like going from Joe Grant to Sarah Jane. Like, these are two of the most iconic.
Oh yeah.
And Harry comes in that fucking
Harry.
Wet towel. Can I get completely honest with you?
Yeah, talk to me about Harry.
I don't know if I was like sleeping or passed out, but it wasn't until like the last scene where they ride Bessie, and Harry's in there, and Tom goes, "Thank you." Oh, the doctor goes, "Let's go, Harry." I was like, Harry. Aidan mentioned another companion. Harry, that must be him. Where did he come from? I don't.
He was off doing another thing.
Was he part of unit?
Yeah, he's the unit doctor, I think.
Oh my god, I had no idea who he. What a forgettable.
He gets a few scenes in part 1, and then part 2 and 3 is just like fucking on holiday, and then part 4 he rocks up and drives Bessie.
I had no idea. Like, I literally saw him and I was like, "Who are you? Like, what's the?"
The best thing he did in this story was his TARDIS entry when he.
Oh my!
Yeah, that was funny. I liked it when he's like, "Obviously, Doctor, a police telephone box will not get you around from A to B."
Well,
and the Doctor's like, "Won't it?"
Well, maybe you should go and want a jelly baby.
I think that was really funny.
Yeah, Harry Sullivan, who's in one season.
Yeah, his last story, I believe, is Terror of the Zygon. So the first.
I've never heard anyone mention Harry.
People don't mention Harry.
It sucks. Where was Harry in Tales of the TARDIS?
He's in. I remember. I think he's passed away. He didn't matter.
Oh fuck. Okay, that explains a few things.
It does. I think. Yeah, no, he was in a John Pertwee story, Carnival of Monsters, playing a different character.
Right.
It's the classic, like, reusing an actor.
Right.
Which is, yeah, cool. All right, tell me, what do you think? So the plot of Robot, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've basically got...
The road plot.
It's pretty thin, right? It's like socialists, in a way. I think they're meant to sort of be socialists. Stealing a nuke. Well, no, getting the robot to steal the nuke codes so that they can nuke places, right? Because they want that war, because they're all progressive and all that. It's pretty thin. I don't think it needs to be more than it is, but there is times where I'm like, oh, we're still doing this. You know, we're still in Think Tank doing this whole thing because this company Think Tank have created this robot, which is the iconic robot.
The robot, yeah.
The robot of all the robots. And yeah, so and the people at Think Tank are connected to this. And they might not be socialist, but this socialist vibe of a community, and they wanted to blow up the bloody world, mate.
They even mention flat earthers in this episode.
Yeah.
In this serial, which I thought was really interesting. Yeah, I suppose they're like the anti-vaxxers of these days. You know, like the. You know,
what's the word I'm looking for? Anti, like not anti-capitalism, but like anti the institution, like the
communists.
I don't fucking know, man. I'm not.
I'm not really. Yeah.
I'm politically inept.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I am too. I think part 3 was probably the episode I enjoyed the most because I think when they had that whole like they're on stage doing the thing at the committee and like I thought it was fun, like Sarah Jane's in the background hiding and then
everyone's trying to take out Tom and he
and then like
he ducks down, they go flying over the top
exactly
of him.
Like we had this scene and then the brig finally comes in with like a gun and all the unit soldiers, like, you know, I think that was interesting. Like, you know, this robot who's being against his will, or I guess their will per se, because it's a robot. I think it's an interesting story.
It's very King Kong at the end. Did you get that?
You read my mind.
It just is. Like that was clearly the draw of it.
I was going to be so clever because I pick up Sarah Jane and put him on the...
They
like
put her
the
on
Empire
the tower.
State Building with the... Yeah,
all the soldiers are trying to take down the robot who's just an innocent...
Wow, I thought I was so clever.
Just an innocent being caught up in humanity's mess.
Aidan, I don't know if you got the parallel with King Kong. But I was going to be the smart guy.
Well, I got in there first, Mr. Intellectual over here.
Have you ever seen the Peter Jackson King Kong?
When I was a kid, but
Jack
I couldn't tell you it now.
Fair enough.
What do you think of all this storyline, though, with the robot? Did it work for you? Was it too thin for you? Too simple?
Look, it's classic Who, I think. I think I enjoyed it. It wasn't terrible to watch. I watched part 1 on one day, part 2 yesterday, half of part 3 yesterday, watched half of part 3 today, and 4 today. So I spread it out a couple of days, but I found it fine. It wasn't too much. Like,
it's fun. It does the job for like a regeneration story.
It does. Do you know, it's so funny. I feel like, you know, when you're a kid and you hear the bell go for like recess or lunch. That's kind of how I felt when every time the credits roll and you hear the whee. It's like it's the call to arms. Like I had a break. I won't have to watch an episode till the next day. You know, like that kind of thing.
Thank Christ.
It can be a lot sometimes. It can be a lot, but
it can.
Enjoyable. Like, I'm glad I'm doing it. I know people will be like, you know, why are you saying that and still watching it and all that kind of thing, because I love the show, and I think you really do. I think in the long run you get more out of it, but it can be hard to watch sometimes, like, for sure. It's an old show. This one was
definitely like a faster paced serial though, which I thought was good. It didn't feel like it dragged for me. You know how you always say every classic Who serial is one episode too long? I felt like this one was actually like kind of perfect for a 4-parter. It was
could have been a 3-part. Hey, I always got to say it.
It was fun, and there was like lots of action in there, lots of cool little set pieces, even down to the crazy VFX of the end.
That was cool.
Yeah, it was all.
It's pushing boundaries, and I love that about Doctor Who. It was always pushing boundaries. Like, it was being its own thing, and we loved that about it.
What did you think of Dudley Simpson's score? I currently have like the little robot theme song in my head. That
Dudley Simpson. What an interesting name. I can't say I picked up on anything, but I appreciate composers. I think they're very underrated.
Yep.
And don't be surprised if Aidan says on his next film he'll be doing the composure as well.
I've fired everyone. I'm doing it all myself.
In like GarageBand, like. This thing could use some violin, just some stock.
Yeah. I'll just get anything that's like license free now.
Yeah.
You know, when stuff's like 100 years old, it goes license free or whatever. I'll just start doing that.
Or like how you can watch movies on YouTube if they're over 15 years old. Remember we had that debate?
We're not going down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like how Steamboat Willie is like Mickey Mouse as a character.
How you say rabbit hole. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Do you think that means like
public domain? That's what I'm talking about.
Do you think that in 100 years of 3020?
3020.
That's not 100 years.
That's 1,000 years away, mate. I can't even process what civilization will be like then.
2000.
What? You're going 100 years in advance?
1,120.
What? You want 1,000 years in advance?
2,120.
Right.
People can repost our Rose review and make money from it. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
You're saying that people are going to be still listening to our podcast in 100 years' time?
That sweet teat of AdSense is mine. In my cold, dead grave, I will be taking that money from you.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm glad we talked about that.
Yeah.
Did you like the little miniature tank? That was actually a real tank.
I noticed it was a sculpture, and I appreciate it. I ain't crazy. I know a sculpture when I see one. And yeah, I noticed it. Yeah, I did. I was on my lunch break. I was eating egg and lettuce sandwich from
the things that you tell us about on this podcast that nobody needs to know.
No, but just wanted to let you know what I was doing when I was watching it.
I was wondering that break. Actually. When you said that, I just thought, what sandwich could
brown bread?
Right.
I'm on a diet.
So. Right. Butter? No butter?
Is there a diet if you've been doing it for like 5 months? It's just a lifestyle now.
I mean, anything you eat is technically part of your diet.
You are what you eat.
Sandwich, egg and salad sandwich.
Yeah,
I guess I am an egg and salad.
I was watching while I ate my egg and lettuce on brown bread. Yeah, I don't know. It's the tank. Yeah, I did. I was kind of like, do you ever do this? I know you got a girlfriend and stuff, which is like more helpful. But literally today, my dad was like, you know, I was going to go on a date on Sunday, but I cancelled it because I was like, maybe I shouldn't say that, but either way. But like, my dad was like, oh, you know, like it's because you're really interested in Doctor Who and stuff. Like you're focused on that. I was like, I'm not just focused on that. Like, You know, I'm focused on other things.
You don't have time for girls. You got to focus on Doctor Who.
I think it's like I am focused on other things, but it's like today when I was just eating my lunch watching Classic Who, I was like, maybe I am a bit of a fucking loser. Like, this is kind of lame. Like, I'm just eating
I have these thoughts
egg and lettuce
regularly.
sandwich on brown bread, watching Doctor Who in a car park, just being like, this is how I spend my lunch breaks. Like watching an episode from like 40 years ago. It's kind of not like, I don't think anyone. I remember thinking like, I don't think anyone in Perth right now, or maybe even Australia, is doing what I'm doing. Like, no one is in their car right now watching Doctor Who
with an egg and salad sandwich on brown bread.
Classic Who watching Robot.
Yeah.
Were you doing that? Because that you're probably the only other person who would do that.
No, I watched one with my breakfast this morning, and then I watched one right before you got here to finish it off.
Can I guess your breakfast?
You can guess my breakfast.
Coffee and yogurt.
No. I've shaken things up the last 2 months because I'm all about like
omelette.
Trying to sort of be more intentional about, I guess, what I eat. Trying to make sure I'm giving myself energy, but not wanting to eat crap. You know, not
Loser.
eating. So I've been eating Weet-Bix in the morning. I've been a Weet-Bix kid.
Loser.
I'm a Weet-Bix kid. Do they even have Weet-Bix outside of Australia?
Yes.
Do they?
They're huge in the UK.
Weet-Bix?
Yes.
It's just like that. The Aussie, the advert for it just feels so Aussie.
I hate the.
You're a Weet-Bix kid.
I hate the play for Oz. It's like, I'm sorry. Why would I want to play for Australia?
This is so. What are you on about?
I don't know.
I know the ad. I just don't know how it connects to. Are we just now talking about Australian advertising?
No, one thing I will say though, you know, you say that you ate Weet-Bix in the morning to energize yourself. Mm-hmm. You literally picked me up today and said, I'm so dead. So clearly the Weet-Bix ain't working, mate. Get a new fucking schedule.
I've been great all bloody week, mate. I just had a busy day. Kind of couldn't comprehend the idea that I was just sweaty and tired after work today.
What do you mean didn't? I did comprehend.
You kept saying, no, Aidan, I think there's something more wrong. And I was like, no, I'm just tired, mum.
Sorry for caring about you.
God damn it. Do you have any more thoughts on Robot? What do you think of Robot? Like the character Robot?
I think at its time it was amazing.
I thought you'd find him cute. That's what I kept thinking.
I did think he was very
I bet
cute.
Connor thinks this guy is fucking cute. Hot. Want to oil him up.
We might be having sex with robots in a few years. Who knows?
I want to go to Tanny on that pitch. Do you get that reference?
I suppose he's got claws. I don't know how good a hand job it would be, but
got to oil that shit up, man.
Yeah, but it would hurt with the.
Well, hopefully he doesn't fucking close his claws in that time.
I'm not. This
you know what?
This isn't me trying to be like, let's have sex with a robot, but I've seen It's a Sin. What's the other? Years and Years.
Right, true. That's the reference that I was making to. Is it Tatane? Tatane?
Tetsuya is the woman at the end of the universe.
No, I'm talking about the movie about a girl that fucks her car.
A girl who fucks her car? Interesting.
Okay, you don't know this one.
Does that Drive My Car?
A couple of years ago. No.
A girl who fucks her car?
Yeah, Tatane? It's something like that. Tatane? I haven't seen it. It's been on my hit list for a while, but for some reason...
She hit the car.
You don't find it very often.
What?
On streamers in Australia.
I wonder why. It sounds good though. Hit the car.
I might have to try Pornhub next.
How do you reach completion in an exhaust pipe?
Mate, we're not going down this route.
It makes you wonder a little bit.
This is not the route.
Makes you... Hey.
The robot.
Yeah, are we still talking about this?
Talking about
or are we
the
going
robot.
to talk about what we watched this?
In a second, we just got to finish up talking about robot, mate.
What else is there to say?
I like the robot. I think it's a cutie. I think it's funny when the doc puts his hand over the robot's head.
That's cute.
And he like kind of tricks him. He's like, I've gone to sleep. And he wakes up and smacks it.
Yeah, he smacked. That's
cool.
part 2's cliffhanger.
Yeah, but then they show that whole fucking scrap again at the end, at the start of
That
part
was
3.
really... I know. I'm like, why did you... There was literally a minute and a bit.
They always show like 15, 20 seconds. Like,
but this was longer. This was so much longer.
Yeah.
Do you know in Trial of Time Lords, the robot that has a suitcase, and when it leaves in the first part of Trial of Time Lords, the big robot that's going to leave and it has a suitcase. It's like it's packed up, it's ready to go.
Oh.
Josh, I know you're watching.
I don't remember it.
You remember that? It's such a loser, Aidan. How do you not remember that?
You know what looked shit was when they couldn't get the gun into the robot's hand properly for the end of part 3.
What is this? Is this the topic figures into Joe Martin's Doctor's hand? Have you seen that?
Character.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, when
I promise it fits. You're selling this product.
Don't worry,
just reshoot it,
Stop
you fucking idiots.
Going down a rabbit hole.
I'm not going down a rabbit hole. It's like, just reshoot. Did anyone else see that?
Yes, everyone did. It's been
did anyone see it? It was fucking annoying.
The robot gets big gun in his hand.
Yes,
but the big gun just is limp the whole time he's holding it. It just is like flopped over.
Aidan, don't you think you're boring people a little bit?
Oh my god. All right, let's talk more about character options, Joe Martin, and how the toy gun doesn't fit in the toy's hands.
I just think it's bizarre that they didn't reshoot it. Like, are they that busy?
I think it was meant to be like a gag, but it just ends up being like, all right, character.
I promise it
Why
fits.
don't you sell these fucking figures in Australia, mate?
Is that me with...
Your
okay.
cock. What do you think of the Professor? This is my last thing.
Cut that.
What do you think of the Professor?
That be me on a bad hair day. Is that real hair? Is that like? Do you think like maybe the actor like just combs it down?
I don't know.
That hair, dude, it literally be like insane. Like, it's like
Josh Snares. Can you please make
look good.
top 5 hairstyles in Doctor Who as a YouTube video, please? And have the Professor in there explain the history. Is it his real hair or fake? We'd love to know. Thanks,
to
Josh.
answer your question,
yep.
I was thinking about this the other day. What was I watching? No, it was Robot. It was Robot. There's a character who had like, you know, they say it's like an egg with sideburns, where like the top is bald, but they have the hair that goes around the back.
Right.
I have thought about this a few times in my life. I don't want to be bald, but if I ever have that, where like I have no hair on top and I'm just going around the sides,
you just go bald.
Why do people keep it? Like,
I'll be bald eventually because I'm like thin on the sides here.
You won't be, Aidan. You're fine.
I will be. No, I've got my granddad, who I look the most like, went bald in his 20s, I think. So
no,
I might be bald next year.
Well, next year?
I'm very thick up top, but the sides are definitely slowly, especially when it grows out. I just had a haircut 2 days ago.
Just keep getting an uppercut.
That's it.
Well, I think your hair is. I like your hair because it's quite. It's unlike mine.
What
it's
is
like
this podcast?
mine's quite curly, and either way, this wasn't an attack at you. I'm just saying, like, if it ever does go around the sides, I personally would. I don't know. It's like, does that look like? Surely you ain't getting pussy like that. Just saying.
Okay, Connor.
All right, you asked my opinion about it.
Shall we? I don't think I did. I think I just asked you, did you like the Professor? But that's okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, but his was also like, his was like curly, like that. That's what I would be like if I.
It was hot though, wasn't it? Let's just admit it. It was hot.
It's certainly a look.
And those glasses, oh my god, so hot.
There's a stereotype that most scientists are virgins, and I'm not there for it.
Okay, well, on that note, seeing as we've done so much of this already, we want to talk about more 50% of the podcast, the non-Doctor Who stuff. We're going to talk about some films and media that we've watched, I guess, lately. It's been a while. It's been like 4 months since we've done this segment because we've been so good and so Doctor Who focused.
I'm so interested to hear about the 8 films you watched in Japan.
Connor, let's do what the boys watched this... It's usually this week. What the boys watched this last 4 months.
I'm so interested to hear the 8 movies you watched in Japan.
The 8 movies I watched in Japan?
I'm just going to repeat myself.
Yeah, go on. That's what we do on this show.
Aidan's getting up his letterbox because he's a fucking loser.
Yeah, I actually am. As you can see, follow me on Letterboxd. I'm Aidan Green.
A lot of people have asked me to get Letterboxd. I have not gotten it because I think it's for fucking losers. So
it's good fun. I watched a lot of movies in the back end of last year, so there's no way that I'm going through all of them.
You can just you can list them. You don't have to get into all of them. Just list what you watched.
You want me to list from where?
Just list what you've watched. If you want to say a quick sentence about one of them, you can.
Where should I be listing from?
November, December.
Every movie from November.
Well, whatever.
There's a few miniseries in here.
Home Alone. Okay. Whatever. I know.
All right, from November, I watched. These are all movies unless specified otherwise. Elemental, Children of Men, The Killer, Looper, The Rat Catcher, which is one of Wes Anderson's short films for Netflix, Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Years and Years, which is obviously the TV series written by Russell T. Davies, It's a Sin, obviously TV series written by Russell T. Davies,
Cucumber,
Doctor Who, The Daleks in Colour, Doctor Who, The Star Beast, Arrival, Napoleon, Doctor Who, Our Blue Yonder, This Is Now December, Doctor Who, The Giggle, Home Alone, Before Sunrise, Love Actually, which I saw in concert, which was a vibe, Before Sunset, Before Midnight, and this Before trilogy, mate, I fucking love. I cannot praise them enough. All year, I watched Before Sunrise and Before Sunset for the first time, and then I went to watch the third one, which is the last one, called Before Midnight, and the day I went to watch it, it got erased from Stan. I was like, fuck me.
But apparently the copy was shit anyway, so I'm glad you watched it on...
Well, that's the thing.
The render was apparently fucking pants.
I love those first two so much that on the old Christmas list, I put on the Criterion Collection Blu-ray set, which all had new film renders from the first two films, which look incredible on Blu-ray. So I rewatched all three of them. And Before Midnight, whilst the first time I watched it, I really liked but didn't love. Now I fucking love it, and it might even be my favorite of the three, which I think is extremely controversial. Then I watched Leave the World Behind, which is a film...
Absolute shithouse.
So shit. Directed by... Did you watch it?
Yeah, I hate that movie.
I hated it. And the thing is...
so...
Do you know who directed it?
The director of...
Mr. Robot, Sam Esmail.
Yes.
And so I was so excited.
Yeah, and it's got your boy in it from the Before trilogy.
Yeah, Ethan Hawke's in it as well.
Ethan Hawke is in it.
And the thing is...
I thought it was so fucking awful.
One of my best mates, who is a massive Mr. Robot fan, he's kind of the only guy that I have... that has watched Mr. Robot. Fergus, yeah. And we sort of watched it together, and it was our thing.
He loved it.
He hit me up about this movie and was like, you have to watch it. It's so good. And I watched it and was like, I don't hate it, but it's so fine. Like,
my dad started it, and then he was like, oh, let's restart it so you can watch it with Mum. And I sat down and watched it. And I literally spent like a week complaining about that movie. I thought it was so shit.
On Christmas Eve, I watched Before Midnight again.
Wait.
That was only 6 days after I watched it the first time. Then on Christmas Day morning, I watched the Benedict Cumberbatch The Grinch, just as like background viewing. It's fine, does the job, you know. Then Church on Ruby Road. Last movie I watched in 2023 was Past Lives. I watched it on the plane, and I loved it. It was everything I wanted it to be.
Past Lives? That rings a bell.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of Oscar buzz, but it's more on the After Sun side, where it's like sort of a subtle Oscar buzz.
Is that one with Emma Stone?
No. It's it's like half South Korean, half American.
That rings a bell. Yeah.
Yeah, it's had a lot of buzz about it. It's directed by Celine Song, and is incredible. It's like half foreign language, half English speaking. So it's like it's a good mix, and I'm really excited to rewatch it again on a big home screen rather than just on a little plain screen. I don't think that does it the service it deserves. First movie I watched in January 2024 was Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, which is one of my favorite movies I've seen in a long time. Have you heard of that movie before? It is literally about like a toy shell that has shoes on, and it's so funny and so charming. It's like, I think it's A24's first kids movie, and it's fucking amazing. Like, you should watch it. It's so lovely. It's like a fake documentary vibe. I don't want to say it's a mockumentary because that just makes you feel like Modern Family these days.
I love how A24 is like making their first kid film. It's like, every A24 film's like fucked. Yeah. Like you finish an A24 film and you question why you're even on this earth and how someone came up with something so fucked up as that.
Yeah. So continuing on through January, I then watched Scrapper, which is a lovely little sort of indie-ish English films, quite short, but some of the best performances from a child I've seen in a really long time. It's really worth a watch. Then watched May December, which a lot of people love. I liked, but wasn't blown away by it, like a lot of people were. Then I watched How to Have Sex, which was very insightful.
How to Have Sex?
No, but...
That's a film?
Yes, and seriously...
I've never heard of that.
It's a very impactful film. Talking about it actually with what it's about, it is about... some girls on a holiday right after school, and one of them gets sexually assaulted, and it is
Christ on a bike.
It is very real and very impactful. Okay. I was left thinking about this movie for a really long time. People think about the end of May December quite a lot because it's got like a plotty thing at the end and blah blah blah. The emotional weight of How to Have Sex had me thinking about it for like 2 weeks after I watched it. Like, then I watched, I got around the hype and I finally watched Saltburn.
Oh, yeah, I've been meaning to watch that. Yeah.
Which actually worked for me. I thought after all the hype and how it's like a TikTok frenzied movie, I thought this probably isn't going to be for me. I actually really liked it. I really fucked with it. It's like a 4 out of 5 stars for me.
Do you like cum licking?
I love licking cum, mate.
I haven't seen it.
Please no one soundbite that.
Jamie, do your job.
And I think it is... You know, I was a bit sad to see it not in the Oscar noms for Best Cinematography. Put it that way.
Who gives a fuck about the Oscars, bro?
I thought it looked beautiful.
They're all little narcissists.
Speaking of Oscar noms, the most Oscar bait movie of the year.
Babby.
No, I then went and watched Maestro. Maestro is the most Oscar bait movie of the
Bradley
year.
Cooper's film.
Directed by Bradley Cooper, starring Bradley Cooper, and for our Doctor Who listeners that are still listening, Carey Mulligan, who we know played Sally Sparrow in Blink.
Blink herself.
Look, it's good.
But it's so wanky.
The first hour is so wanky. I really like the second hour. It gets so... here's my letterboxd review for it, because I thought it was pretty hitting the nail on my head with what I thought about it. The first hour plods along filled with Oscar bait sequences, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but they draw attention throughout. Cooper and Mulligan are phenomenal. I seriously hope they get some recognition over the next few months. But in the end, Maestro is a film of two halves. An hour of in-your-face filmmaking that somehow grinds by at a snail's pace, followed by an hour of Cooper's more subtle directing that goes by in the blink of a teary eye. So the first hour is like blah, it's so crazy filmmaking stuff, and then the second hour is like way more subtle and interesting. What?
You're so... Okay, this is why I don't like Letterboxd. Goes away in a teary eye.
Well, what
are you, insane?
A lot of my reviews are then more fun. But that one I just had a bit to say.
Eye.
Okay, I fucking used to write for a media outlet. Oh. Can you tell?
The last act goes away in a teary eye.
Then I watched...
Aidan, who the fuck are you talking to right now?
Then I watched Theatre Camp, and my review is simply my childhood on film.
Cool. Well, you did go away on a theatre camp.
Theatre Camp is a lot of fun. I really like Theatre Camp. It's a really good independent American comedy. Then I watched Are You There, God? You asked for all the movies.
Aidan, I love you.
Then I watched Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, which is fun.
Yeah, that's the director of Edge of 17.
Yeah. I prefer Edge of 17, but this is still a fun movie.
Do you appreciate the fact that I know that?
Yeah, sure.
A lot of people
I knew that going into it. And then the last movie that I have seen... I lie. I almost finished watching Amazing Spider-Man last night, but that's the whole thing. But the last movie...
What was that about? That was weird.
Just why not? Emma Stone.
You sent me a Snapchat of Emma Stone, and I was like, why are you watching this?
Why not? But the last proper movie that I have finished watching this month has been Women Talking, which I missed in 2022 when it had all the Oscar buzz. Or 2023, yeah.
You're so woke, Aidan. Women Talking.
I know. How dare I want...
Is that the film about Harvey Weinstein?
No, that was she said something like that. Right. No, this is written and directed by Sarah Polley.
Aidan's super woke.
So woke. I just wanted to watch it so I could be woke.
Great. So I've got 7 minutes to say what I watched. Thanks, Aidan.
You do. Sorry,
you had like 20 minutes.
But Women Talking, very, very good.
All right, it's all about you.
Yeah. Well, you know. All right, Connor, the film expert. Tell me.
Well. I don't know, I suppose on Christmas Day I watched Wild Blue Yonder.
Mm-hmm.
Boxing Day I watched Judgment Road.
Mm-hmm.
While I'm watching, I've been really enjoying True Detective Season 4. I have not seen Season 2 and 3 because I've heard they're a piece of shit.
I've heard that too. From you.
For a bit of context, every season of True Detective is a different story, different characters. Mm-hmm. To make it more complicated, Season 4 has connected to Season 1 in slight ways.
So confused, Connor.
No, don't get too confused. No,
I can't do it. I'm too confused.
Christopher Eccleston is in Season 4.
Oh, now I'm confused. Now I can't handle it.
He has a sex scene. I have seen Christopher Eccleston's bum. And I have seen Christopher Eccleston's cum face. It was that was Monday night, watching Chris Ferguson fuck Jodie Foster. I literally was on my couch like, this is my childhood actor, like literally my hero.
How is that not in TARDIS posting yet?
I don't know. I literally was like, seeing Chris Ferguson's bum and his cum face, it was insane. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I think Season 4 is actually really good. I think what made season 1 really good was the supernatural elements. It was not a huge part. Like, it wasn't a supernatural show. It's very much like The Sopranos, which Aidan gave up watching because he's a fucking idiot.
No, I'll get to it. I'm too millennial for The Sopranos.
You know, Sopranos also had supernatural elements, which I think were super interesting. You can read into it. Similar to True Detective season 4 and season 1. I watched Ted season 1.
The comedy.
Which Aidan, when I told Aidan I watched it, he's like, I heard a lot of people say it wasn't very good. I have not heard anyone say that. I think I've heard everyone say positive things about it, Aidan.
I've not been searching out reviews for it, so it's just things I've seen online and stuff like that. So
I've heard everyone say they love it. I'm a bit of a Seth MacFarlane fan. I don't like Family Guy. I like Seth. I think he's a great singer. You know, I think this show actually has been funny, and I think it tackles, you know, it's set in like the past, and I think it tackles interesting topics such as racism and homophobia. I know you never would think that from Ted, but I think it tackles that. I watched The White Lotus season 1.
Oh, okay. It's a very yellow show.
It is very yellow.
I hate how yellow it is.
Have you watched it?
No, I just seen bits of it, and it's very yellow.
Season 1 is very yellow.
Just season 1?
Well, season 2 is set in Italy, so season 1 is Hawaii.
So they went Hawaii yellow.
Similar to True Detective, it's different characters.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And different story. Cool. Well, 2 characters from season 1 come over.
So when they go to Italy, Italy's not yellow.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I think it did get a bit too yellow for me, but
I don't like yellow.
You hate Breaking Bad then and Better Call Saul. I think it did get a bit yellow, but seriously, White Lotus season 1, amazing, cool, absolutely incredible, so great. The pacing is fantastic. Starbeast could learn a few things from that.
I bet.
The creator, writer, director, Mike White, who I have loved since School of Rock.
Right. Jeez.
School of Rock. He made that film, and he's in it. He's a dweeb in that. He plays in it. He plays Sarah Silverman's boyfriend.
Crazy.
He kills it. I think that show is absolutely incredible. Like, I watched it in like a week. It keeps you on the edge. I'm watching season 2 now. It's set in Italy. Really enjoying it. But yeah, obviously I've been watching Classic Who. I watched a lot of The Simpsons. You guys know that. Curb. I'm watching a bit of Curb.
Oh, yeah.
Well, final season airs next month, so you know I've been watching a couple of episodes here and there. Just get ready for the final, and I think that's it.
Your enthusiasm.
Yeah, you ever gonna watch all 12 seasons? Though?
No, but I do like bits. It's one that I'll happily, not that I sit there on TikTok, but in this example, I'll happily see clips of it because I think the clips are funnier than watching a full 20-minute.
Unfortunately, I'm a bit more like Larry David than I would wish. I know people are like, oh, Larry's so funny, but like actually being a Larry's
a goofball.
But like people don't like Larry for a good reason, and I think I actually kind of am like Larry. I was saying this to my dad today. I'm like, every time I go out, something happens.
Yeah, right.
There's always a thing I say or do that causes a scene.
You always find people like you'll even fucking Crispy will back this up. When we went out to a lovely pub with Crispy when they were in town, dude, all of a sudden you just brought a fucking posse of blokes you'd never met before.
I don't know what it is.
And all of a sudden they were like, "Oh, this one guy was like, I've seen Doctor Who. My friend was telling me to watch this one on Mars with the water, and then like within 20 minutes they're all subscribed to our podcast."
Yeah, I don't know what it is, Aidan. I had this thing with people down the pub, and like, well, just life. Like, I can't help it. I caused a bit of a scene. I want to say this for a while on the podcast. I genuinely hope you don't. This isn't a joke. I generally am like neurodivergent. Like this isn't a joke. Mm-hmm. Like I am autistic. Mm-hmm. Like Aidan's laughing. How dare you? I'm kidding. No, I generally am, and I think it can cause scenes. You know, and obviously, I like to go to the pub, I like to drink, and you know. That kind of thing crazy. Goes a bit interesting with that kind of thing. Obviously, I'm in therapy, and so that's how I found out that I was. And it's like, yeah, I think it does cause an interesting time, but
fun.
But it's fun. Yeah,
I did watch Fargo season 1. as well. I've rewatched that
with Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman, yeah.
His American accent.
It's so good. It's such a good season.
Billy Bob Thornton?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so it's an incredible show. And I've for some reason loved season 1 when it came out, but never continued. Like True Detective, it's an anthology series, so every series is a different cast and everything. And for some reason, I never got around season 2, despite hearing that season 2 is the best season. So now I watched the season 2 premiere. I'm gonna watch all of it now because apparently it's good every season. There's 5 seasons. Season 4 is apparently a bit meh, but 1, 2, 3, and 5 are great.
This year, will you watch season 1 of True Detective?
Yeah, it's been on my radar for ages.
Probably one of the best shows I've ever seen.
I'll fucking do it. Okay.
And Sopranos. You have 2 to hit.
I'll do it, baby. All right, Connor. What would you rate Robot out of 10?
6.5.
Yeah, okay. Fair. I'm going to give it a 7.
0.5 more than I gave...
Terror of the Autons. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 7's good for me. I enjoy it. I think it's a great introductory story for Tom. Not a great introductory story for Harry.
Who?
Harry who? Harry Houdini?
Who's Harry? Yeah, Houdini himself.
Alrighty.
Is that it?
That's it, my man.
What a good wrap up. What a crazy episode.
That's a crazy. Right, we didn't get the same score, but I will fist pump you out of solid.
We can't. We'll do that. We'll do that.
Out of solid.
Yeah, thanks for all the love. Love you guys. See you next week for Revenge of the Slitheen.
That's right. We're going back to Sarah Jane Adventures next week, so we'll be doing Revenge of the Slitheen.
Very keen to rewatch that.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. If you can't tell, this has been our first drinking episode of the year, so...
I didn't know so.
Lots of fun.
That was a great episode.
Good episode of the pod, man. All right. It's...
Aidan
and Connor's
podcast.
And we're doing, I think, Doctor Who reviews.
If we're not talking about...
And we're doing...
other stuff.
Doctor Who reviews, I think. Yeah.
Do-do. Ba-do-ba-do.
Boo-do-do.
Do-do-do.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I think that's good. That's a good spot to end it. The camera's cut out, so I think that's when we just end.
It worked pretty well.